Hello, Irish Football Fan TV. This is the live watch along. Newcastle versus Liverpool in the Premier League. We've got Kieran Clark starting for Newcastle, and we have Jeff Hendrick on the bench, while Queeveen Callagher is also on the bench, but for Liverpool. Gary, how's it going?
Good, Paul. Yeah, keeping well. I think we've seen just the game has just kicked off now, but yeah, all good. Looks like we're heading for another week's of lockdown though, so that's not good news.
Another which?
Well, the Taoiseach has announced we're going into it's probably old news for a lot of people.
Your Wi-Fi keeps coming in and out, so it's kind of hard to hear you.
Okay,
Say it
I don't
again.
know what. I think the Taoiseach has announced we're going back into lockdown for level 5, so for another 4 weeks at least.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously this is bad news for I think everybody. I mean, obviously myself wanting to get back playing football, at amateur level is it's a bit of a nightmare as well because it looks like that won't happen now, and if it is to happen, it won't probably happen till maybe April at the earliest because of the way things are going. And I think this is quite stupid considering, you know, we knew this was going to happen by letting people visit people at Christmas, and you just wonder like why did they just can't basically cancel Christmas this year, and then we would have went into the new year with a much kind of better way of suppressing the virus, I suppose. I know the vaccines came in now and that, but it's just really frustrating.
Well, I don't. I think this we were heading for this even before up the virus over Christmas. Probably don't even realize it yet. We're only starting to realize it today or tomorrow. But yeah, unfortunately, it's the last few weeks have been a bit crazy. I think since we opened up. So
Yeah. Well, anyway, on to football matters. What are you expecting from this game? I think Liverpool will probably do the business here.
yeah, I mean, team in the Premier League. I mean, you have the odd shock like Big Sam going there, going to, but yeah, I would expect all logic would point to a Liverpool win. Even though they've had their injury problems at the back, they still should have Newcastle, who were a bit hot and cold for me. I mean, it's the Newcastle have started the brighter there. I see Allison, but all logic would point to a Liverpool win. It'll certainly be a test for Kieran Clark at the back. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm sure you're cheering for Newcastle, but what are your
Only because of our Irish players playing for them. Of course.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, absolutely. Nothing to do with your Everton loyalties at all, you know.
no. Your Wi-Fi is literally it's going in and out when you're in the middle of saying something. So I can make out what you're saying, but I don't know why it's normally not like this. It's normally very steady. So sometimes when you're talking, it's kind of hard to hear what you're saying. But yeah, I think I'm a couple of minutes behind you. I'm watching on Sky Go here. I have my phone placed nicely in front of me here, watching it, and I have a nice little ring light to give me that good lighting. Kieran Clark actually was the one who got the header from the corner there. Am I a couple of minutes behind you on the game then?
Yeah, so I'm watching it now. It's at 3:42 on. I'm watching it in Premier Sports on
Same,
Sky
yeah.
Channel, Sky Channel 412. So
Yeah, same. But I'm watching it on my phone on Sky Go. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think your Wi-Fi seems to be improved now, so I think you're all good now. So if there's people watching, and as soon as 9 people online, get the likes in. Also, as well, get your comments in, and if there's something you want us to discuss, we obviously did the highs and lows of Irish football the other night, and it seemed to be quite popular with some people. See, some people were giving me stick in the comments as well, saying telling me to breathe and let you speak. But sometimes it's hard because, as I was saying there about the connection and some stuff like that, sometimes you don't know when someone's maybe finished, and say sometimes you say something comes to an end, and maybe the connection goes, and then you say something in between that time, and then I start talking. So it's like a crossover. So if anyone was watching it and leaving those comments, it's not actually intentional that we speak over each other. And I would say in when we're actually in person that we wouldn't do that to each other because it's a lot easier obviously without the Wi-Fi, when we do it in person. But when was the last time we actually did a video in person? Abbottstown, wasn't it?
Oh, um, yeah. The in the summertime was at the under 21 squad announcement.
That was the one, yeah. Out
Yeah.
in Abbottstown, yeah. Like the pros that we are. But yeah, someone says Keith Whelan says morning from Australia. Thanks for tuning in, Keith. Good morning to you too.
Well, good morning. Much evening time here, and I'm sure you got better weather than we have as well.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, Australia. It'd be nice and sunny now this time of year. It's mad though because they're celebrating Christmas in the sun while we're absolutely freezing over here. But yeah, your Wi-Fi it like well maybe it could be just my it might be my computer or my connection. But every time you're kind of saying something and then you can kind of catch just a glimpse of the end of what you're saying just because of your connection. But let me know in the comments if anyone else is experiencing that or is it just me because it might just be me. So let us know in the comments. Um,
Okay, it might be my Wi-Fi. It has been pretty good lately, but I have had glitches in the past with Virgin.
yeah, I remember Brian Gartner's interview.
Let me do a speed test actually and see what it is.
No hassle, but if you are jumping off and jumping back on again, just let me know so I can hold the fort by myself for a
Yeah,
couple of minutes and
sure.
answer a couple of comments and that. Keith says it's actually raining heavily, lads. Well, I hope it's because I lived in Australia. I lived in Sydney for oh that was a close chance for Newcastle there. Callum Wilson in my fantasy football team. I lived in Sydney for 3 months in 2012. I didn't like it at all, but I lived there and I just remember the rain. Was really really bad when it rained like and this was around March time, and 1 minute it was sunny, and literally, I think I had a pint, went out to the smoking area, it was real sunny, walked out, and next minute, like a monsoon happened, and it was just rain like you've never seen. So I can imagine if he's saying it's raining heavily there, I can imagine how bad it actually is.
Okay, never
Actually,
been
what
to
part?
Australia actually.
Yeah, you should go. It's a beautiful place to be fair. Didn't like the
Oh yeah, I'd love to
Australian
go.
people.
Yeah,
But just where in Perth? I'm saying where in Perth? Where in Australia are you, Keith? I lived in Sydney, Bondi Junction. A lot of Irish there. But no, Gary, if you ever get the chance, I would go. If Ireland are playing Australia anytime soon, you might go to that.
definitely. There were actually rumors a couple of years ago about a friendly, and it never happened. But I think Australia wanted us to go there. I think it was in the build-up. Was it the 2018 World Cup? I think it was. Maybe it was even 2014 World Cup. But there were certainly rumors that Australia wanted to play us as part of their send-off for the World Cup. But nothing ever happened, or nothing ever came of it.
Yeah, well, I think we've played them obviously a few times here, which obviously made sense logistically because a lot of their players, I would say at the time anyway, were playing in England or close by more so than Australia, so it would save the hassle of travelling so much. They bet us as well. I think Tim Cahill scored twice to win the game. Was it 2-0 win?
Yeah, they beat us in Limerick in Thomond Park in 2009, I'd say. If I remember, we beat them with a Clinton Morrison goal in Lansdowne Road, the old Lansdowne Road, in
Yeah,
the early noughties. I'd say around 2003.
yeah, I
They're
remember
the
that one. I think
two
it was
that
at that.
they're the two that spring to mind anyway. Yeah, they beat us well in Thomond Park. I think it was 2000. It would have been 2009 because the Aviva opened in 2010, and
Yeah, Tim would have been in his pomp then, so that would make
yeah,
sense.
yeah, it was 3-0. I think it was, or maybe 3-1. Did we get a late goal? I can't even. If we did, I can't remember who scored it now. But we were well beaten in that one, and one of two games in Thomond Park. The other one was a win over South Africa. So I suppose it's unlikely. Well, I was going to say it's unlikely we'll be back playing there.
Excuse me.
There is a possibility with the Euros. With the Euros on in June, the Aviva is out of. We can't play matches in the Aviva in the month before the Euros. Because it is commandeered by UEFA. They need to put in all the advertising, etc., etc. So if we do have any home friendlies, they'll have to be possibly Thomond Park and going back to Limerick might be an option. I'm not sure where else really would be an option. I think Tal is probably too small, and so maybe we get games back in Limerick, but they weren't actually that well supported, unfortunately. In 2009, there were a lot of empty seats, so I don't know if the FAI would be too keen to go back.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Just there, someone saying a few things there in the comments. Keith was in Sydney, the Irish Republic of Bondi, which is where I lived as well. Yeah, I was Bondi Junction though, so it wasn't quite Bondi itself, but it wasn't far from the beach. Good times there. I'm sure he's done the Bondi to Coogee walk. I'm sure he'll let me know in the comments there. That's supposed to be like, well, it isn't supposed to be. I did it. It's great for hangovers. I was only 21, mind you, but it's also very good. It's just a beautiful walk. Like, I imagine it'd be 30 times better than your Bray to Greystones cliff walk. But it's really good because you just see beach, 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 beach all the way along. Great ball in there. And it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful place. Mind you, I wasn't mad on the Australians. I didn't find them particularly nice people. But the country itself, beautiful. I wish I had maybe travelled more around Australia. Maybe around the other parts of Australia would have been good. Oisin is joining us there from Donegal. How's the lads? How's Oisin? Come on, the Harps.
That's a yellow card for Kieran Clark already. It's not a good start. Maybe a little sly foul, but it's very early in the game for a defender to be on a yellow card.
Yeah, that's true. It's only 10. But I'm only just coming up to 11 minutes played on my screen now. Right now, 11 minutes. Well, it's yours on. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
So, what minute are you on?
Oh, sorry. I'm for a second. I'm on just over 12 minutes now. 12:06, 12:07, 12:08. Yeah.
You're about a minute.
Yeah.
50 seconds ahead of me. Oisin is here in Muff, Donegal. DJ Bosch, good man. Big follower of the show. Always leaves comments. Make sure you give those the video a like, guys, if you're watching, and let us know where you're watching from as well. I have Rossa texting me here. Hang on.
Callum Wilson had a good chance there for Newcastle. Actually got in on the left-hand side, and Allison had to get down very well and push it out for a corner. But so Newcastle have started reasonably well.
Just 2 secs, man. I hope that he does score because I have him in my fantasy football team. I'm just trying to get Rossa into the stream here. While I'm doing that. Is there any comments there? Big fan of the channel is right. Top man. Big Harps fan, Gary. What are your thoughts on Finn Harps?
I think Ollie Horgan and Finn Harps have done an incredible job with the money they have, the budget they have, to stay up. I mean, their target must have been to be in the relegation playoff, but they far exceeded that, and fully deserve to stay up. Superb, and it's a great place. I have many bad memories of Finn Park because as a Limerick fan, unfortunately, we got relegated there in 2015, and we lost the first leg of the playoff then in 2018. But it's a great. They're a great club and great volunteers. They are very well run. It's look, I can just nothing but praise for them at the moment, and the job Ollie Horg and Paul Hegarty, the job the two of them have done at Finn Harps has been absolutely superb, and they fully deserve to stay up. So yeah, Osh agrees. Ollie works wonders. He sure does. It's just unbelievable. I mean, yeah, I still remember particularly that game in 2015 and the BJ Banda goal in extra time. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. I mean, it was a full house. It was unfortunately we came out the wrong side of that, but it was quite a night, and it certainly came as a shock as well. I think all the Limerick fans and we certainly expected to win. And I can even tell a story about my brother. Actually, he was chatting to some of the Finn Harps directors before the first leg, and he said, "We, as in Limerick, we just cannot afford to lose this playoff." And I think the guy was joking, but maybe only half joking. He says, "We cannot afford to win it." So, unfortunately, Harps did win it, and well, they've more than justified their existence in the Premier Division, and they're going to make life difficult for teams next season as well. I don't think, yeah, I wouldn't be putting any money in them to get relegated. They'll have to be there or thereabouts with the budget they have, etc. But they'll give anybody a difficult game.
Yeah, obviously they broke my heart by going on that great run, and then Chelsea got relegated by losing the playoff as well. It was in their own hands, but fair play to them, and it's good to see them doing well, and hopefully they continue to do well next season. Good lads on the team up there, like David Webster and so on, who is a big fan and friend of the show. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Ush.
Yeah, he says still waiting on the new stadium. I'm just wondering if you've any update on it. I mean, you can actually see it from if you sit in the stand side in Ballybofey or stand on that side, you can actually see the new stadium. But unfortunately, I think it's been at least since about 2000. I had heard about a year ago there was meant to be some progress on it, but um, I don't know, no update. Maybe you know more than me, but there doesn't seem to be much happening. I suppose COVID hasn't helped matters either. Yeah, in 2015, we'd been on a fantastic winning run. We'd been on a brilliant run to actually make the playoffs. We had a fantastic night in Sligo when we won 3-2 to just pip Drogheda. And Shamrock Rovers did us a big favour and beat Drogheda that night. And we won in Sligo and made the playoff. And we thought, I think most Limerick fans in Sligo that night were thinking, job done. And thought we would beat Finn Harps. And maybe even in the first leg in the Markets Field, wonder goal from Sean Kelly, 1-0 up. We thought, yeah, it's never easy going to Finn Park, but at least we had something to take up there. But unfortunately, on the night, it just was not to be. With plenty of chances, I thought battered them a bit, hit the post. Could have Sean Russell had a great chance, even. But anyway, it wasn't to be, and it was certainly a big setback for the club to be relegated at that time.
Just seeing if there's any other comments. I think Ush is just Sport Ireland froze the money they were given the FAI after the Delaney scandal. That's actually an interesting topic there. Just while we're on it, did you see? I think it was at the AGM yesterday that was it the next 4 or 5 years that the FAI have to pay 100 grand to, is it Sports Direct?
To Sports Direct, to Mike Ashley's company. Yeah, that was that was clearly a terrible business deal, and yeah, it's going to really hurt. It's really going to hurt the association.
I
And
think. Yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, I mean, I don't know why, how they signed up to such a deal. It just defies all logic. Obviously, it was a couple of years ago in the previous regime, but still, it's oh, I mean, the liabilities. I think it's 94 million in liabilities, so it is actually going to hurt for a long time to come. And yeah.
Yeah, are you really surprised though? I know I'm not. But did you just think of how much that money would help grassroots football and how much that would help the development of football in Ireland and stadiums, facilities, these types of things? But yet it's going to this absolute waste in Mike Ashley. They're just looking around here. The Newcastle game here, Sports Direct, plastered all over the place.
I don't think he's too popular with the Newcastle fans either. But
He's not popular with anyone just because he's an idiot. And he also is
well,
involved with Rangers as well.
I think you'll have to be careful what you say, Paul, on the channel. But it's
Yeah,
anyway. He's
it's
probably not
freedom of
watching.
speech, mate.
Well, no, I think it's.
He can't sue me for calling him an idiot. So let him. There's Robertson on the left now. That's going to play. I was watching actually Open Goal with Cy Ferry. Some people watching may know what that is. It's like a podcast, and he sits down and he meets players and stuff. And I was watching a couple of the older episodes, and I was watching the one with Robertson, and his story is quite interesting in terms of, being rejected from Celtic and then having to go down to the lower leagues. Was a Queen of the South. Then he went there, played well. Then he went to Dundee United. Wasn't necessarily in the first team of Queen of South. Is it Queen of South?
Queen of the South. Queen of the South. They play down in Dumfries here.
Yeah, so he was with them after getting rejected from Celtic because he started off as a centre mid, then he went left mid, and then ultimately he went to left back in the end when he started to do well. But they were playing him out of position, so he actually started out as a centre mid, and then he went to left mid and struggled there. I think that's where he got released from Celtic. Went to Queen of the South, done well there. They started playing left back there. Then went to Dundee United. I think Jackie McNamara signed him, former Celtic legend. And then he played him left back. I think he got capped as well for Scotland while he was playing for Dundee United. Then he obviously got his move to Hull off the back of that. And he's just gone from strength to strength, really. He's obviously right up there in terms of the best left backs in the Premier League. He's either the best or he's right up there. I can't really think of too many others. Lucas Dean at Everton I'd probably have up there. Don't know if he's better than him right now.
Ben Chilwell, the Chelsea signing from Leicester, has been a revelation this season. He's done really well. Our own into Stevens, not so much maybe this season, but last season had a superb season as well. Yeah, I'm not even trying to think who's the left back at Man City now. But
Mendy, but he doesn't really play.
Mendy, yeah, okay. I wouldn't rate Luke Shaw of Man United. I'm surprised. I don't think maybe he's doing okay, but he hasn't justified the early hype they had about him anyway.
No, Tella's good. The new lad they got off Porto.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen much of him. The Spurs guy is very good going forward. The Spanish guy Requillion, or however you pronounce it, but maybe a bit suspect. Reguilon. He's a bit suspect at the back, I think.
Yeah, Jose Mourinho actually bought him Christmas dinner because he was on his own. So there you go. Fair play to him. Because everyone always says how Mourinho's such a, no, but I like him, but a lot of people don't like him and say he's this and he's that. But it seems as though, like, deep down, he's actually a nice guy. He's quite funny as well. I actually enjoyed when he was, a pundit with Sky, and you could actually hear his views and stuff like that. He's very insightful, very good coach still, I believe. But the team itself, there's Rossa now. I think he's in. Hang on.
Yeah. Jose he's a superb coach. Actually, I mean, he's proven it with a number of clubs, and you can't argue with that.
Yeah. Rossa, what's going on?
Just a bit of technical issues,
You're really, really struggling there, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I was trying my best.
No worries. Well, at least we can hear you now. Have you got the TV on? If you do, can you just lower it down?
Yeah, of course. Now. This is supposed to have noise cancelling, but apparently it doesn't. So
it doesn't sound like it's connected, but it does. I can still hear you fine, but it's just a bit echoey. But anyway, are you watching on?
That's off.
Are you watching on the TV or on Sky Go?
On the TV there now, but the noise is off.
Okay, because you and Gary will be on the same minute then, so you'll be a little bit ahead of me.
Grand.
We were just talking about left backs there. I was just telling Gary that I was watching a podcast. Cy Ferry for Open Goal. I was watching his podcast with Andy Robertson, and he was just talking about kind of his rise, and it was just really cool considering he was let go, and then he had to really work his way from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
Really, really good. And then we kind of got onto the
There's a
discussion
famous tweet
of
from
left
him.
backs.
Yeah, there's a famous tweet from him whenever he was about 15. He said, "Life is so bad without money," and now look where he is.
I think I've seen that. Yeah, I think he's got all the money he needs right now.
Yeah, he's like minted. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of brought us to the discussion of kind of left backs in the Premier League. And we're kind of talking about who the kind of better ones were. We went through Luca Dean, obviously Robertson, Mendy, Tellez. Gary doesn't rate Luke Shaw. Who else? Chilwell
Ben Chilwell.
and Reguilon. So if you've any left backs there,
Yeah,
you
we're
wanna shout
spoiled
out.
in the Premier League.
Enda Stevens was there last year.
I think you've covered them all, really. He was, but overall, Sheffield are underperforming this year, so that's not really an effect on him. It's just a team effort, really.
He did miss a large amount of games though at the start, didn't he? He was missing for Ireland and stuff like that during November there. So I think he missed a lot of games, and I think they really missed him. So I think that might have been an issue with them. I mean, they're losing games a lot, 1-0 or by a few goals. Not much. They just can't score goals. That's their biggest issue. And obviously, if they score the first goal in some of those games, maybe things will go their way.
Yeah, they have been unlucky to an extent. I think it's something around 10 of their games has only been decided by a 1 goal margin. So it's just a flip of a coin whether they can actually make that difference.
Yeah, Gary, what do you think of that, Kieran Tierney?
Yeah, he's very. I think he's good going forward. Another guy I'm not too sure about defensively, although he seems to have found a bit of form lately for Arsenal. I actually saw quite a bit of the Chelsea game on Stephen's Day, and he did really well in that. So I suppose from a Scotland perspective, if you're looking at it, possibly their two best players are both left backs, and maybe they should find a way to get them both on the pitch.
Yeah, it's just Ross Cadweller there saying Dina should get a shout, a left back now too. We did. It's just we kind of came back to it as well. We mentioned him. I of course mentioned him before anybody. What a player! Actually, Everton have missed him a lot lately, but they've had Ben Godfrey. They have Ben Godfrey filling in at left back, and you wouldn't even know Lucas Dean was out because he's just been so good defensively. Great sign.
Just another comment from Oisin to give a shout out as well. He mentioned Sean Kelly, a good Donegal man who was at Limerick for a number of years. Another full back, although right full back. And yeah, Sean's a top lad, Oisin. I've met him quite a few times, and great guy, and a good Donegal man from Killybegs, I believe. But great
Love
servant for
Seamus.
Limerick. So yeah,
That's where Seamus is from.
yeah, I think Sean is from around there as well. Could be wrong, but I think that's where he's from in Donegal. Yeah.
What's all that background noise, lads? Is that one of yours?
I don't think it's me anyway. I can hear it, but
I don't think so, no.
I think it might be our shoes when you're tramping along there. Your Wi-Fi is greatly improved anyway, Gary.
good to hear. Yeah.
So you're not kind of going in and out of black holes like you were earlier on. But, yeah, if you're joining us, it's 0-0. 27 minutes played on my watch, nearly 28 now. But yeah, if you're joining us,
I'm 28, 55, 56. Just coming up to
Same with me,
29 now.
so you're about 50 seconds ahead. Yeah, that big bang
No
noise in the
spoilers.
background. It's not just me.
I can hear. I think is it you, Rossa? I think is there some noise in the background?
I thought his thing was
There
noise
shouldn't be,
cancellation. It's
no.
just adding noise.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
I don't know.
Shouldn't
Do you
be
have someone walking
noisy,
in and
though.
out of the room or something making noises like?
No, they're 2 rooms away.
And there's another person just in there for Facebook. Yeah, someone said there. Sounds like someone's doing building. So that's what I said. That's what I heard anyway. Just a couple of someone. Anthony Dively says, "Morning from Brisbane." Good morning, Anthony, and thanks for tuning in. Kitty Beggs, a good bit away from me. Oshin says, "It still feels like this building going on in the background there, Rossa."
Yeah, I know. I
Sorry, I'll go
know.
sort that out
Uh,
now.
I know, Oisin, where Muff is. Actually, I've sister-in-law lives up in Buncrana, so I've been up there and been through Muff actually a few times. So up there in the Inishowen Peninsula. Yeah, it's a long way from Killybegs, but lovely part of the world up there.
We're just gonna boot Rossa out for a sec. So the building noise is gone for the moment.
Yeah,
It's very hard to hear while you're trying to talk as well. You sound like a lot of banging going on in the background. Don't know what it was. He's back there now. I'm just gonna add him back in. Hang on. There we go. There we go.
The building is hopefully stopped.
I think it's like your shoes. Are you going like that with the floor?
No, my parents were doing the dishes there, so
He says your dad must be a carpenter.
not by trade, no.
No worries. Yeah, it seems to have gone now. So anyway, let us know where you're tuning in from, and as well you're watching the game. It's hard to watch the game and watch the comments at the same time, so as well as kind of joining in discussions. Yet another promising left back playing for Bologna in Serie A, Aaron Hickey.
yeah, the ex-Hearts player. I haven't. I've read a little bit about him. I can't say I've actually seen him play either live or much on TV. But they are high. They have high hopes for him in Scotland as well. So
Like goes with
still,
any player who goes abroad.
yeah. But I think if you see a guy going to Serie A, it's a good indication that he must have some talent.
We've a few Irish lads in La Liga now.
Yeah, it's again, I haven't actually seen any of them play, but yeah, it's good to see. The more options we have, the better, and the more players that are coming through. Yeah, definitely. I think Stephen will be looking for options all over the pitch.
Kieran Clark just done well there to get the goal kick there. Still, that noise is still happening.
Sorry about that.
I'm just going to mute yours if you're going off there for a sec.
Yeah, Lee, Jack Byrne going to Cyprus. Yeah, it is a blow. It's a blow for the League of Ireland and it's a blow for Shamrock Rovers because of all the players in the league, Jack Byrne is the one player you'd pay money to watch. He's the one player you'd say you'd go and watch. You'd go to a game just to watch Jack Byrne. So he's going to be difficult for Shamrock Rovers to replace. He's going to be difficult for the league as kind of a poster boy for the league. Because I can't really think of anybody else at any other club that's that kind of a standout player that you just go and watch on their own. But from Irish football, from the national team point of view, it's probably a good move. And I think it's a good move for Jack to go to Cyprus. The other clubs he was linked up with were all in the Championship. And I think with Jack's style of football, the continental style of play will definitely suit him better. I mean, he's someone who loves to get on the ball, run with the ball, pass the ball. And I think football in Cyprus will suit him. So from Jack's point of view, I think it's a great move. But yeah, a big loss for Shamrock Rovers and a big loss for the League of Ireland because it's a shame we won't be able to see him every week.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that, and obviously would like to see him back playing for, obviously, Ireland, and probably starting some games as well, maybe from March onwards, and maybe even the Qatar game, see how he gets on that, and see how he's going. But he needs to be playing consistently and regularly at a higher level to be, I suppose, considered. And League of Ireland fans won't like to hear that, but it is the truth, unfortunately. Ross says, lads, name top 5 strikers in football this season. Lukaku said he is in the top 5. I'm just going to let Rossa back in while you're doing that.
The top 5 strikers in football in 2020. I'm not sure I'm qualified for this, but I'll go with what Lewandowski, obviously at Bayern anyway, is the one that springs to mind straight away. Another superb season, and Bayern have been the top team in Europe. Um, just going to go around. Yeah, Lukaku's worth a shout. He scored a lot of goals in Serie A. Um, you have to include Ronaldo in the mix as always. I don't know if 2020 has exactly been a stellar year for him, but uh, he's got to be in the mix. Yeah, top strikers. Again, Harry Kane has done really well. He's added a lot of assists to his game lately as well. Um, who else? Top five strikers. I'm probably forgetting a couple. Um, do you include Mo Salah as a striker, come winger in the Liverpool? I mean, certainly a top player and scores
Jota.
quite a lot of goals. Jota, maybe in 2020, he's not a bad player. I don't know in the top five in Europe or in the world. Um, oh, and obviously Erling Haaland, phenomenal player in 2020 for both Norway and Borussia Dortmund. I mean, what a signing for them from Red Bull, was it RB, whatever? Anyway,
Salzburg.
Salzburg. But yeah, he looks a real talent, and will probably move on quickly from Borussia Dortmund as well. So he's definitely in the top five, and possibly possibly the top one, even better than Lewandowski in a year or two. Anyway.
Rossa, your building seems to have stopped in the background. So do you want to have a crack at your top five strikers?
Well, I think top five, as you mentioned, there'd be Mbappe, Haaland, Lewandowski, and then there's the rest of the other two. Maybe Lukaku was also mentioned in there. But I think someone that everyone seems to forget about because he's playing for Lazio is Ciro Immobile. He's consistently getting 20, 25 goals a season for the past 4 years, maybe. And just not many people talk about him because he's either only in the Serie A or Europa League. But he's definitely a world class striker.
What about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, lads?
Of course, you mentioned him.
Look at his goals 2020 since Carlo Ancelotti arrived.
He has been fantastic under him, to be fair, but I wouldn't say top five yet. There's still time to go.
I'm gonna look up his actual goal tally.
Yeah, he's certainly pushing for a place in the England team for the Euros, or at least as possibly backup for Harry Kane. But
Oh, Kane's better than him. That's no doubt.
I don't know about the top five though. Yeah,
Yeah, but if you're talking, he's
Top
just
five
talking
maybe
about,
in the
he's just
Premier
talking about
League.
this year. He's just talking about this year. A great Immobile is a great show, by the way, and Ross said that in the comments there that he's a great show. I said that was DCL. He said Immobile, Vardy as well. Yeah, that's
absolutely good shout. Yeah, he's still doing it. Yeah,
Vardy, yeah.
That's not coming up anyway. But if you, I think Calvert-Lewin has like 16 or 17 one-touch goals since Ancelotti arrived. Just one-touch goals. And obviously he scored a couple for England as well. He scored one against Ireland. He scored against Belgium as well. So I think he's at a phenomenal 2020. Although the back end of last season he wasn't that good after the lockdown for the virus. But yeah, I think Vardy's class. I think he's gone up a level since he kind of retired from international duty. I think Harry Kane, he looks revitalised under Mourinho. I think he kind of needed a change of manager at the time because he was just picking up injuries. He's becoming made of glass a lot of the time. And he's added a lot of assists, obviously, this year with Son as well. Would you class Son as a striker or like a winger like Salah or Mane types players?
yeah, even as a number 10 possibly. Yeah, it's hard to know what to class him as, but he is a real quality player as well. And the two of them are just on fire for Tottenham up until the last couple of weeks. They'd been banging in the goals, and yeah, Harry Kane has really chipped in with so many assists this season as well as the goals.
Yeah, he's been my captain since in fantasy football since the start, but I should have probably changed. But every time I change someone, the inevitable happens. They score. The Mane did it. I swapped Mane for Salah. And now I'm down to 11th, and I was ranked first. Whenever we're top of the league, I was first in the fantasy football. And then it all just went tits up.
But what was it? I think was you were saying, Paul, they were denied the chance to go top of the other night when the Man City game was called off. I think that 11 goal win was probably nailed on, was it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, Here's a good one for you. We might come back to that striker conversation in a little bit as well.
My it's a good name there, Sean, for goalkeeper as well. Um, my answer at the moment would be no. I still think Darren Randolph is our number one. If Queeveen gets quite a bit more game time at Liverpool, then he has to be in the mix and in the shout, because Darren will be on the bench, or seems to be on the bench at West Ham. But I think Queeveen certainly probably needs to get a run out in the Qatar friendly, and needs to get a couple of caps under his belt. But for me, Darren is still our number one. But it's great to have the option, and it's great that if Darren gets injured or something like that, that Queeveen's already played Premier League, Champions League, and done incredibly well for Liverpool. So international football shouldn't phase him.
Yeah, I would keep him in there for now anyway, and just if Queeveen's playing maybe closer to the time, then it might be something to actually look at in a serious way. Because I know Stephen wanted to bring Gavin Bazunu into the squad and he couldn't because of what had happened previously. So it's kind of a matter now of waiting and seeing what if either of them are playing regularly and Darren's not, he may decide to throw one of those young lads in. Or Mark Travers as well if he's playing regularly at Bournemouth between
You
now and
know,
March.
Gavin Bazunu was playing regularly with Rochdale on loan until I think he got injured, and I know Rochdale's games are off at the moment. I think it's because of COVID. So he has got some game time, and I believe he was doing really well at Rochdale as well. But I think playing at League One is probably too big a step up. But and Gavin is very young; he's quite a few years younger than Queeveen. But if Queeveen is playing for Liverpool, even if he just gets playing in the FA Cup or something like that, it's certainly great that we have another option. But for me, Darren Randolph starts in Belgrade.
Well, to put it this way, if you have a keeper who plays the way that Stephen Kenny plays, which Kelleher does, that may be something that he might say, right, well, you've proven that you can do it in the Premier League and you've proven that you can do it in Champions League. So I want you to be my keeper here for this campaign.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It might be what happens, Paul. I wouldn't rule it out.
Now, I love Darren Randolph, and I think he has been brilliant for Ireland ever since he came in. He's been brilliant, and there's great defending there. I think that was Clark, was it? No, it was Lascelles, I think, or Yedlin. Um, I think Randolph, you know what you're going to get from him. He's solid, and especially if you're under the cush, you're gonna want someone like Darren Randolph who continuously make saves, last ditch saves, and is just real commanding presence. Whereas I think Kelleher gives you more in terms of ball playing goalkeeper, and that's maybe something that Stephen Kenny maybe wants. You never know. You could see Shane Duffy drop out of there and have Darragh O'Shea next to John Egan with Kelleher in goal. If that's the way he wants to play, we'll obviously, well, all going well, touch wood, that Enda Stevens will be back as well for us. I think he was a big loss as well. So there's so much can happen between now and March as well. It's kind of exciting in some ways.
Yeah, I see. Sean has also mentioned that Kieran Westwood is getting game time at Sheffield Wednesday. Kieran Westwood has actually been a fine goalkeeper. Probably hasn't got much of a chance for the national team. I think part of the issue has been that I don't think he wants to come and sit on the bench. But I don't know. I don't see him coming in as number one now. So I don't see him coming into the squad really, unless there was injuries or something like that. Maybe a month ago, how you're saying, if there was injury to Darren Randolph, that Stephen might have given Kieran Westwood a call and said, you're going to start. Whereas now, I think if there was an injury to Darren Randolph, I think Queeveen Kelleher would start. So, yeah, I think Kieran Westwood's a fine goalkeeper, but I'm not sure if we're going to see him anymore in an Irish shirt.
Yeah, but I think that may be down to Darren being that good as well.
Yeah, it's down to Darren being that good, and I don't think. I think the issue is, I could be wrong in this, but I don't think Kieran wanted to come into squads and just be backup. I think he wanted to play.
Yeah, well, don't we all? But how long did Darren
Yeah,
play back up to to a lot of people?
yeah.
I'm just telling Rossa just not to bother coming back in because it's just messing the stream up.
I see Roscoe says as well he couldn't believe how good Kelleher was this year. Yeah, look, he played in the two Champions League games and the Premier League game. He left in one goal, which was a penalty, and he played really, really well. I mean, the iconic moment was Klopp going out to give him the hug at the end. Yeah, he's been superb. I think is it now saying he's taken over from Adrian as the number two? And yeah, hopefully he just gets more time. From an Irish perspective, I want him to see him get more game time at Liverpool. Hopefully he'll start in the FA Cup. I can't even remember who Liverpool have drawn in the FA Cup. I don't know if you know, Paul, but hopefully Queeveen will be between the posts for that. Anyway, it shows how much faith Jurgen Klopp has in him anyway. That again, he's obviously on the bench tonight.
Yeah, well, I think he's established now as the number two. I think Klopp gave him a test to see if he could pass it, and he passed it with flying colours. And that's why I think it was a turning moment for him in his career. Because I think now if I don't think he'd be loaned out. I think maybe had he not got that test, he probably would have been loaned out in January. But now I think he'll keep all three keepers. But I think a great save, Darlow. Sorry, just got
It's just
distracted
gone.
by-
It's just gone half time here as well. Still 0-0. Yeah.
Yeah, I told Rossa not, just to take a sitter for the second half because he's just coming in and out. It's just it's a bit unsettling because you have to keep changing the layout of the screen. But with Kelleher, I think he has he has that bit about him now that he knows that he can come in and perform even if it's a huge moment, he can perform, and that's what he did obviously with Liverpool. That's what he did with Liverpool in Champions League and the Premier League. So I think he could come in at the international level and do it. If we maybe needed him against Serbia, I think he could do it. So it's good to have the option all the same.
The only thing I would say is wherever the game, the Red Star or Partizan Stadium, or presumably one of those two, it would be a really, really difficult place to start your international career away to Serbia. Now, look, I know he did it against Ajax and Midtjylland in the Champions League, and but it would be a big ask for him to start in a game like that, and that's why I would see Stephen. I would expect Stephen to go with the experience of Darren Randolph, but it's almost 3 months away, so a lot can happen in that time as well. But so who knows? But for me at the moment, I'd expect Darren Randolph to be between the sticks.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be disappointed by either or, so it doesn't really bother me that much. You know?
Yeah, it's nice to have the options. And
Well, this is it, because you look at the last couple of international games and we're thinking, well, who's going to come in and replace Randolph? So it was a timely reminder that he can do it if needs be.
And there were a lot of comments actually back in November that maybe Stephen should have given Mark Travers or Queeveen a run in one of maybe the England friendly or one of the other games to give them some international experience.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like maybe the Bulgaria game could have been that game. Like the way Mick
Yeah.
did.
The problem with the Bulgaria game was, I think, relegation. Had we lost that game and got relegated, it just would have been such a disaster in the Nations League. I don't think we could have afforded to lose it, and thankfully we didn't. But so it's the balance between your tried and trusted number one and getting the result and giving experience to the younger keepers. So
Yeah, well, as well. Sorry, when I'm going here, it's just to read comments out as well. So if your cameras here, computers here, and the screen in which I'm watching the TV is here, so I'm like an octopus here. But yeah, if there's anyone coming in with the comments, very low amount of people watching. What's going on? Where is everyone tonight? They're probably watching the game, to be fair. Um, get your comments in if you have something that you want us to discuss as well. We had a few discussions there on top 5 strikers in Europe at the moment. Should Queven Keller replaced Aaron Randolph in March as the number 1 or 23 if you want, rather, if you want to be particular about it. So drop in some. Also, who would you like to see maybe come and rise into the squad as like a full-time starter? Maybe Jason Knight or Jason Malumbi, or like Adam Ida and Aaron Connolly pretty much have done. I'll probably ask that to you first, Gary.
okay, I mean, I think Aaron Connolly, as you say, is already a full-time nailed-on starter. I wouldn't be so sure about Adam Ida. I'm not sure if he will start if fit, but he certainly will be knocking on the door. Jason Malumbi probably already very much in contention with his performances. Jason Knight, maybe. Darragh O'Shea is the player I really like. And now, when you talk about him coming in as a starter, and I actually think it's quite a strong possibility that he will start. But does he start ahead of John Egan or Shane Duffy in Belgrade? Now, I think I was saying it about Queven Kelleher. I'm not sure Belgrade is a place to go with younger players, but Darragh O'Shea has done really well, and unfortunately, Shane Duffy's not having too good a time of it in Glasgow. Now, I see he was on the bench today for Celtic, and I don't think he came off the bench, even though it was a Julian. I didn't see the game, but I see Julian went off injured, and was it Britain or Bitten? They're Bitten. Paul, you know a lot more about Celtic than I do. The midfielder, came on playing centre half, but I'm sure Shane must be in contention now to start on Saturday, because I believe from Sky I'm only going on what was said in Sky Sports News, but it looks a bad injury for Julian. He collided with a goalpost and seems to do quite a bit of damage to his knee. So I don't know if that's good news to Shane. I wouldn't like to wish injury on any player, but it would.
It's bad news for Celtic because they play Rangers on Saturday, but if Duffy plays and plays well, you never know.
Yeah,
that goal that kind of propels him then. He's done it for us many times.
Well, it certainly would win over the hearts of Celtic supporters if he was to get a goal against Rangers on Saturday anyway. But certainly from an Irish perspective, it would be nice to see him get regular game time. But the move, I suppose, to Glasgow hasn't been a great success so far. I know he's won the Scottish Cup, but his form hasn't been certainly the Shane Duffy we know from an Irish shirt, or his performances with Brighton recently.
Just Ross says there, a question on Stephen Kenny: how many games more can he go without a win or a goal and keep his job? Ross is very much a hater towards Stephen Kenny from what I've seen in the comments on Instagram, as far as I know.
Okay, I mean, well, we could go, if we go to Belgrade and draw 0-0, I think we should be leaping around the place. It would be a fantastic result. Absolutely. I mean, I would bite your hand off for a scoreless draw in Belgrade now. Absolutely, would be amazing. So I presume it depends on the results. And I don't think Stephen would lose his job or should lose his job even if we lose in Belgrade. Serbia are a decent team, and it's going to be a tough place to go. Hopefully, and I would expect that we would beat Luxembourg, which obviously involves scoring a goal as well. And I think it's incredibly tough. I know, look, what have we had? 8 games under Stephen without a win, but it's been really peculiar times, and it is a rebuilding phase. I think we said it on the highs and lows. The fact that he had the playoff, I think, does it changed everything, and it does obscure everything, because he did come in to do a rebuilding job. That's why Mick was given the job to qualify for the Euros, because it was a home finals. And look, I'm really regret that we missed out on that. So it did change everything for Stephen's job, because he was coming in to do a rebuild, bring the young players through, and the focus would have been to qualify for Germany 2024. So I would like to see him get a lot more time. I think he will get a bit more time. I don't think the result in Serbia will be decisive. I would worry if we didn't beat Luxembourg. Now, we should beat Luxembourg at home. But they're no mugs, and they're not. It's not a gimme. It's not an automatic win. But if we were to fail to beat Luxembourg, I think he would come under serious pressure, and who knows what would happen at that point. But I don't see that happening. I think we will beat Luxembourg, and obviously that would be the end of the goal drought as well. And the next games then don't come till the next competitive games don't come till September. We will have friendlies in June. So he will have the Qatar friendly, and the result there doesn't matter. Really, it doesn't matter. It's definitely we need to use the Qatar friendly and the friendlies in June to bring players on. Certainly we're going to see Caoimhín Kelleher play in those, or whoever else. So I would hope he would be given to the end of this campaign anyway. But who knows? I don't know. What are your thoughts, Paul?
Well, I think you can't judge a manager until he's been allowed to use his best players at his disposal, and he hasn't been. COVID's taken away players, injuries have taken away players. So when he has his right team, then we can start judging. But to be calling for his head already when he, all this COVID stuff has just caused absolute havoc on the team. There's just absolutely no point in getting rid of him. It just doesn't make any sense. We've brought him in to, as you said, rebuild things, and he hasn't even had the squad that he's wanted, and he hasn't even moaned about it. He's got on with it. He's brought in players. Ultimately, they haven't scored the goals. I mean, if you look at the games, I think against the teams we've played against, they haven't created more chances than us. Just they probably scored that one goal out of the chances that they had. They made use of the chances that they had, which is fair enough. But I don't think after the summer, after those games in the summer that we looked that bad defensively. In the summer we did. But I think after that, I thought we looked really good. I thought we were unfortunate not to beat Slovakia. The Finland game, we were right in that. And the one where Darragh O'Shea...
Wales at home in October, we did really well. We were missing loads and loads of players, but did really well on that one.
We could have won that if McLean hadn't got sent off. I think we were going for it, and then he got sent off, and we had to bring on Josh Cullen to see the game out. So there's I think people are being very short-sighted and not seeing. They're just seeing the results. They're not realizing who was missing from the squad and our better players and stuff like that. So I think there's a long way to go with that, and hopefully we will have our best players at our disposal in March and can go from there with his better players. And there's still, I think, a few players that can come in, but I think the highlight of those games and having to bring in players was we got to see what the likes of Malumbi and Knight and O'Shea and Ida and all those could do. I didn't think Ida was great, but he hasn't played that much senior football, and again, people need to realise that. So until he's playing regularly at club level, high on confidence, but until then we can't really be judging him. He also says there that I think Long and Connolly as a duo up front would run defences into the ground. I disagree, because I think Shane Long's days as a regular starter for Ireland are gone, and I feel as though Adam Ida will probably be the main man up there. I think you think that as well, Gary. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not so sure about Shane Long's days are gone. I mean,
as a starter,
he's maybe someone who's coming on with 20-25 minutes to go. He's getting a bit of game time with Southampton now. And
he's not starting for Southampton.
No, he's not starting. No, I know he's not starting for Southampton. And I mean, I probably do see him as an impact player off the bench, being honest. So I think his days as a starter are probably gone. But given we do have issues scoring goals, who knows if Shane Long was starting for Southampton in February, March, I think he could be an option. I think Adamida is one for the long term, but he's currently out injured. I'm not sure when he's due back. I think it was next month, but I'm not sure on that. He needs to come back and he needs to be playing regularly for Norwich. And if he's scoring goals in the Championship, then he's got to be in with a shout. I mean, the person probably our most informed striker at the moment is James Collins, and okay, probably hasn't really done it under Stephen. He's got a bit of a chance, but I don't know. He could well be the starter in Belgrade if if the Serbia game was next week. You probably have to say that you start. Or maybe you start Aaron Connolly as a central striker rather than wide.
Callum
But
Robinson.
Callum Robinson, yeah. But do you play Robinson and Connolly wide? You know,
I think we should try Callum Robinson through the middle for Ireland. Now that
okay.
Didsy's not there anymore, I think Callum Robinson would be a great option. I don't think he's good out wide. I think he's much better through the middle. As you've seen that he scored goals against Chelsea and a couple of other teams this season. He's looked lively. But if you had Connolly and Robinson up front together, I think that's more of a duo that I think would work if you're going with the two of them. So there's just Ray McGlynn had asked about Jason Malumbi. How come he's not getting looking at Brighton? Did they not monitor his performances for Ireland? I think he did get a look in after that, but then they just decided to just kind of stop playing him altogether. And it looks as though he's set for a loan move anyway in January, which would be good news for us. So if he's playing for, well, I don't know who we would go to right now, but if he was playing for someone in the Championship or maybe abroad, then I think it would suit him. I think Millwall could be a good option for him. They obviously wanted him back, and he seems to really like that club, so he could go there. There's talk of Troy Parrott leaving Millwall, but I think if Jason went to Millwall with Troy and Shawnee Williams and a few other the Irish lads there, I think it would make sense. I think Troy might stay for that. So Millwall might be the club that we'd be looking for to, blood some of our youngsters ahead of March. So you never know.
Yeah, he did. He did fantastically well at Millwall. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Brighton do monitor his performances. Yeah, he
Obviously,
played
yeah.
superbly for us. But what has he got? A couple of minutes as a sub in the Premier League. So he definitely needs to. I mean, but based on his Irish performances, he probably should be in our starting 11 or very, very close to it. So hopefully, if he doesn't break into the Brighton team, and it looks like he won't, then hopefully he will get a loan move and get some game time in January, February, March. I don't know. Millwall to me seem to be. I think got a win recently, but they've been off form a bit lately as well. Troy really hasn't got great service there, so I don't know. He's someone again that we'd really like to see get some serious minutes on the pitch. If not at Millwall, then somewhere else. So, as you said, Paul, I did see reports that he was possibly leaving them in January and probably going on loan somewhere else. But yeah, I really want to see Jason Malumbi get some minutes into his legs in January and February.
I think there's a lot of players that we'd like to see that happen. Howrahan as well. He can't get into the Villa team. So, and they're doing really well.
Yeah, so they're flying at the moment, and
I
in
like
really
Villa,
good
though,
form.
to be fair, but they shouldn't be up because they should have been relegated. That goal that against Sheffield United, do you remember?
Yeah,
It was over the line.
the goal decision system got it wrong, and
But I like them, and yeah, I'd like to see them do well. But yeah, I feel as though the better they do, I think the more chance Howard could go somewhere else. I think he needs to go somewhere else if he wants to, remain in the Irish starting 11.
yeah, I do. I mean, to me, Jason Malumbi has a case to be in the Brighton first 11 because I don't think they're doing that particularly well. I think he could improve it. Obviously, Graham Potter's the manager and doesn't agree with that. It's very hard to make a case for Connor being in that Villa midfield at the moment because they are playing so well. So either he needs a move or else, I don't know, to yeah, he might get some game time in the FA Cup or something like that. Connor is a more established, experienced player as well, so it's probably not as crucial that he gets as much game time. So if he's still fit and gets some playing time, then it should be okay for us in March. But for players like Jason Malumbi, the younger players, Troy Parrott, they definitely need game time playing senior men's football to develop and to be ready for the national team.
Could you see a situation of Jack Burns starting?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. So I presume he's going to Apoel to play. I mean, they're actually on a very bad run. They're down. They were beaten there the other day again. They were hammered by Ammonia in the derby there a couple of weeks ago. They're down in, I think it's ninth or 10th. I think it's ninth place in the Cypriot League, which also splits. And they're one of the top 2 or 3 clubs in Cyprus historically. You'd expect them to be in Europe, probably in the group stages of the Europa League at least. So I know Mick has only gone in there, but they've gone through quite a few managers recently. So I think it's great for Jack that surely he's gone in there to start and to play. And if he's playing regularly for Apoel and hopefully their form will improve, then he could well start in March in Belgrade. I think he's got to be in contention. It depends on who's fit, who's playing regularly, and who's playing well. But it's very hard to predict our midfield. You could name 6, 7, 8 players. I mean, Jason Knight scored again there for Derby the other day. He was given man of the match as well. So I don't know. I mean, you could ask me now, Paul, to give a midfield 3, and I might give you another one next week. So it's good that we've quite a few players in contention. So I don't even know if Stephen knows what his midfield 3 is going to be in March. A lot could depend on who's playing regularly and where they're playing in the next couple of months.
We're playing Serbia tomorrow. Who are you picking?
Playing Serbia tomorrow. Everybody fit. I would play if James McCarthy is fit, and I know that's a big if. And obviously, I suppose, well, you're saying tomorrow, then he hasn't got the game time for Crystal Palace. So, okay, on current form, is that what you're saying, really, then? If we're playing on the players that are playing now, playing regularly in.
Yeah.
If you're going now, you're probably playing Conor Hourihane sitting.
Josh Cullen?
I haven't seen. It's good he's playing for Anderlecht, but I haven't seen him, and I don't know how well he's playing. And so I think, Stephen, if it was now, and I am conscious of the fact that it's away to Serbia in a crucial qualifier in a very tough place to go, that you need maybe more experienced heads. I would be going with Connor, and I'd probably go with Jeff Hendrick and Jay Malumbi as my 3.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that Jeff Hendrick's kind of been in and out of the Newcastle team on the bench. Sam Hourihane and Malumbi hasn't played at all, so you're kind of going in with a midfield 3 that haven't been playing. I know. I put you on the spot there a little bit as well. So it is hard. I think I gave who I would like to see the other day, wasn't it? I went with a 3-5-2.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. It's what you can like to see, but I don't see Stephen changing his style. I think he almost certainly will go with 4-3. Now, it would be interesting, maybe, but I would see him go with 4-3-3 again in Belgrade.
But he's come out and said that he wouldn't rule out going with a 2 up top if needs be. So he could go 4-4-2 or 3-5-2.
Yeah, it does get Darrow O'Shea, Shane Duffy, and John Egan on the pitch, or possibly Seamus Coleman on the pitch with Matt Doherty as well.
Yeah, and it means that Enda Stevens and Matt Doherty could play their best positions too, and give us the real width and the attacking and outlet while they have midfield being covered, by the what are you doing with that bicycle kick? Like McCarthy's very good at that, and he was very good at that at Everton, where he would cover himself, and Gareth Barry would cover the left and the right. So Gareth Barry would cover Leighton Baines if he went forward, and McCarthy would cover Seamus Coleman. So McCarthy's well able to do it if he's fit, but as you say, it's a big thing is if he's fit. Still think Josh Cullen could do that job. I think he's been impressive every time he's played. Um, Albeit hasn't played in a full-fledged competitive game yet to see what he could actually do. But he's played a couple of Nations League games and he's played friendlies. So, yeah, I mean, I like him. I think he's doing well at Anderlecht, and I think Stephen Kenny, he seems to really like him as well. Although he did miss out at the start, but he didn't get brought in. I think he plays that style of play that Stephen likes.
Yeah, he could well start. I mean, particularly as you say, if he's still playing regularly for Anderlecht, and Connor's on the bench at Villa, and James McCarthy is on the bench or isn't fit at Palace, then yeah, he's probably the obvious shout for the holding role. I don't know. I haven't managed to see Anderlecht. I'm not sure if they're on any of the regular. Is there live Belgian? I know I'm sure I can get a stream somewhere, but I don't think any of the regular Sky or BT show Belgian league football. I'm not sure who has the rights to it, or if anyone has the rights to it. Um,
Don't think it's
but
that good anyway.
yeah, it's probably not. Um, I went to see who was it, Genk in the Europa League, and I've actually been to see a Belgian second division match as well. I've been to Erpen, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the German speaking part of Belgium. But yeah, it's I'd actually much prefer going to watch German or Dutch football if you're in that neck of the woods. But I wouldn't mind actually watching Anderlecht just to see Josh Cullen.
Yeah, and they have a nice jersey. I like that jersey as well that they have. It could be cool, in a couple of years you could have a jersey with Josh Cullen on the back and elect, and you have Jack Burns, Applewell, all this. Well, you could get Killian Sheridan as well. You could have all these mad random teams.
And you got Getafe, and
Two boys there.
the Irish guys there. Hopefully, as I said, I don't think they've even declared for us or anything yet now, but hopefully they will.
Well, Ryan Nolan played, I think, under the age level. So I think he did want to play for Ireland, but I don't think anything's really happened from 21s up. He's done his cruciate, and I've seen all the players were wearing t-shirts for him there today. So wishing him a speedy recovery, basically. And I seen Oisin was saying in the comments earlier that John Joe Patrick Finn made his debut, but he actually made his debut a few weeks back for Getafe. But he said he made his debut against
Yeah,
Atletico. Maybe it was his first start.
might have been his first start today. Now I saw they were actually 1-0 down to Atletico Madrid at halftime. I don't know how it finished. Actually, I can probably check it on the app. But
Yeah, I wouldn't say they bet Atletico, to be honest. But he's someone who hasn't. We haven't heard anything. I know his dad's from.
Yeah, they lost 1-0. I saw some crazy stat earlier. Actually, I think is it the 20th or 21st time Getafe have played Atletico Madrid in the top flight, and they've never scored against them. I just saw that on Twitter. I presume it's correct, but they didn't manage to score again today as well. They lost 1-0.
Yeah, well, they're just a small club in Madrid, aren't they, Getafe? They're from Madrid, aren't they?
Yeah, they're from Madrid. They're in the suburbs of Madrid there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're just a small town in Madrid, really. So,
Yeah.
look, if the lads do well there, that's brilliant. If they declare for Ireland and play for us in the future, brilliant. As long as all of our players are playing at the highest level possible, that's all we want. And just Ross had said he had to head off. Thanks for the last 40 minutes of entertainment. Hopefully, the other Ross, dad, finishes building his new kitchen cupboards.
Okay.
So we've 17 people watching, 16 now, as I said that. So get your comments in, and make sure they are good comments as well, so we can read them out. There's a couple of people with some silly comments, saying that they want to get on the screen. So say something useful, and you may get on the screen. Callum Wilson seems to be a right thorn here for Liverpool, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's doing really well. I don't know, he's got a lot of goals for Newcastle, but he's been doing really well for them. He's another one that got away for us. There were rumours at one point that he qualified for us, but I think it's through his great grandparent and not his grandparent. I know it was investigated and it didn't work out. That was back in his he was back in his Bournemouth days or whatever. But so I know he's played for England and all since anyway. But yeah, he's a decent player, you know.
Ross is there. Just said he's finished the cupboards there now, but the internet's yet to be finished. We'll get you on again, Ross. So don't worry. Make sure everything's ticking over nicely. At least you get to watch the game in peace.
Yeah, my own internet can be a bit hot and cold, even though I've paid for the Virgin's top of the range Wi-Fi. Just suddenly seems to fade in sometimes.
Maybe you owe a bill.
So,
yeah, owe a bill.
What's that? No, the bill. Oh no, I'm up to date on the bills. All right, that's it.
Just checking.
So, I just did a speed test and it comes up super fast. I mean, it's 400 megabits per second and a 50 megabit per second uploads. It's the odd glitch or something like that.
And just as you say, it glitched.
Okay, I don't know what it is. It's
You were saying 15 megabits per second and you froze.
okay. It's something spooky. It's currently tracking what I'm saying, and I don't know. It's
maybe it's that knockline Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah, I'm also using the cable. I'm actually hooked up with by cable into the box as well, which should be as Ethernet. Yeah, I'm actually using Ethernet cable rather than Wi-Fi, so that should be about as fast as it should be. You know.
Yeah, Colin McTeer asks you, Gary, think we can beat Serbia and come second in the group?
I think we can. I think coming first in the group is probably too big an ask. I think Portugal probably just have too much quality, and I think they will win the group. I think I don't know if we can win in Belgrade, but I think we can certainly finish ahead of Serbia. I think we're capable of going there and getting a result, which would be an absolutely fantastic start to the group. If we could go there and get a draw, as I said earlier, 0-0 draw. You can go on all you want about another game without a win and another game without a goal. A 0-0 draw in Belgrade would be absolutely superb. And I'd absolutely bite your hand off for that. And I'm sure Stephen would as well. I think they're going to be favourites for second place. And I think a lot of this campaign is going to be a bit of rebuilding. But I think we have a chance. We can go there. We can get a result. And why not? I think the crucial thing is to make sure then we go on and beat Luxembourg. And that sets it up for the games in September.
Yeah, I think our best hope is to finish second, because you look at Portugal's team and it's just ridiculous, and they're getting better and better every year. They've players that will probably start stepping up between now and then. You know, João Felix and Bruno Fernandes has been unbelievable for Manchester United. They've obviously got Ronaldo and
Jota as well. You know,
and the rest.
Yeah,
Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, look, there's quality all over the pitch there. And they played Serbia in the qualifiers for the Euros, and now they actually started off a bit slowly. They drew with them in Lisbon. I think it was they drew with them in Portugal. I don't know whether it was in Lisbon or Porto, but they drew with them in Porto. Then they went to Belgrade and absolutely hammered them. And I would expect Portugal to win the group. Yeah, that's a good point by Sean, actually. Serbia have tough games in March. They start off with us, then they play Portugal, and then I think they go away to Azerbaijan, if I remember rightly. But they have a very, very tough start. And I'm really glad we didn't get that start. And it could be an advantage to us because particularly if we can go there on the first day and get a result, it would really set us up nicely. And I would hope that Portugal will beat them second time out, or the second match day when we're playing Luxembourg, and then they have to go to Azerbaijan, which will be, it's a tough game. It's tough to be going to Azerbaijan as your third game in 6 days. It'll be a long trip, and it's the kind of place you could drop points, and it's probably not the time that Serbia would want to be going there.
Yeah. It'd be great if they did. Imagine we bet them and Portugal bet them, and then they maybe drew or lost against Azerbaijan.
Yeah, well, that would be the dream scenario. They'd nearly be out. Although if we did beat them, we'd probably want them to take something off Portugal. We'd probably be in dreamland then and saying we can win the group. But yeah, if we go there and get a draw, and then if they were to lose to Portugal, and then even then drop points in Baku, they would really be playing catch up for the rest of the group. And because they come to Dublin then in September, isn't it? Yeah, I mean we've got what have we got in September? We've Portugal away first, have Azerbaijan at home, and then Serbia order the games in September. But yeah, it's a tough start for Serbia, so maybe that's an opportunity.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see kind of how it goes. Obviously, they bet us the last time we played them, didn't they? Serbia at home, they bet us. Was it 2-0?
Yeah, it was that was the funny campaign because we started the qualifiers for the 2018 World Cup with a great 2-2 draw in Belgrade. And it was a funny game. We actually led in the match, then went 2-1 down and came back with a late Darren Murphy goal. It's a game we could have lost. It's also a game we could have won. But we were in fantastic shape in that campaign because then we went and won in Vienna as well. Won in Moldova as probably as expected, but then beat Austria in Vienna. And we were in great shape to top the group. Even when Serbia came to Dublin, had we drawn that game even, we could still have topped the group. But unfortunately, as you said, they beat us 1-0. Probably one of our poorer performances, and they went on to win the group and qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah, it was there for everybody though. I think that group was, because that was when we bet Wales.
Yeah, we beat Wales after that. After we lost to Serbia, we were probably looking like third spot, but by beating Wales in Cardiff, then we got the playoff. But the same time as when we were beating Wales, or certainly that window, Serbia were losing in Austria as well. So I think certainly if we'd beaten Serbia, we probably would have won the group, and possibly a draw might have even been enough as well. I'd need to go back and look at the table, etc. But it was a chance to qualify for the World Cup. Particularly how well we started with the draw in Belgrade, the win against Moldova, the win in Vienna. Even if you take the home draw against Wales, we really should have beaten Austria at home in June of 2017. That was definitely a game that got away.
I think Shane Duffy had the ball in the net and was ruled out.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought it was a perfectly good goal.
Yeah, it looked a good goal. But it was also a chance. I mean, Austria were missing quite a few players that day. And it really was. I think it was a game that was crying out for us to really go at them, and we didn't really go at them until we went behind. And
Walters,
and then, as you say, I think it was Shane Duffy that goal that should have been allowed. But I mean, another even 5 or 10 minutes, I think we would have beaten them that day. But it really was regrets that we really should have got at them and taken the game by the throat from the first minute.
Yeah, I think that was the start of kind of a winding down of a lot of our senior players like Wezo and I suppose Moyler to a certain degree, and these types of players, they were kind of coming to the end of that campaign. More so, although Wezo didn't get that much really, did he, out of his international career? That wasn't his fault as well, by the way. There's another miss by Salah. But there's a lot of players left then, and obviously coming into the Euro campaign and stuff like that. We were missing a lot of leaders. O'Shea was kind of gone. Who else? There was a good few that kind of before Mick took over. A lot of them had retired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, yeah, certainly fast forward then to the playoff loss at home to Denmark, which was that November. I think there was generally, I think, a whole doom and gloom around Irish football, and then that carried into 2018. which for many really was a lost year. And as you say, there was a bit of a changing of the guard as well. But anyway,
another change at the guard now. With the way we've got a new manager, younger players coming through again, so another transitional period, more so probably than before. Obviously, with the style of play and so.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've been talking. We've named quite a few players, and even if you talk about our midfield and all the other goalkeeper, I mean, we're debating would Queeveen Kelleher be in goal or Darren Randolph? Would it be the likes of Jason Knight and Jason Malumbi in midfield, or Conor Horan and Jeff Hendrick, etc.? Josh Cullen or James McCarthy? Adam Ida up front, or Callum Robinson, or whoever else. So I think I just missed a chance there in the game. Is Dara O'Shea going to come in and be a starter at the back? So we could have a very different squad, certainly going into the qualifiers for Euro. But and possibly the team that starts in March in Belgrade could be very different to the one that finishes in Luxembourg. It is Luxembourg away as our last game. But
yeah, I think it's someone saying that McGeady. Yeah, he was another player who kind of, as we said, out of that bunch, he was gone then after that as well. I think his last kind of real big moment was the goal against Georgia, wasn't it? Or I suppose he's playing his part in the goal against Italy in the Euros.
So yeah, well, if he's still playing, maybe he's an option, but he's probably I don't know, down the pecking order now.
Way down.
Yeah.
And that's not to say he wasn't a good servant, because he was. Frustrating, but he had his moments.
He had his moments. I mean, the Georgia away in 2014, and that late winner comes to mind anyway. Certainly, 2 goals in that game, but particularly the winner. He's probably also a player that keep expecting that there's more there. You're expecting to see more from him, but yeah, he certainly had some great moments in green.
Yeah. I think, but he's the type of player that we're missing, is someone on the wing who'll get down and he'll whip the ball into the box as well. I think he's kind of played out of position more often than not, I felt, under Martin O'Neill. But Martin O'Neill was real like that. He played loads of players out of position. He plays Robbie Brady always out of position as well, just to accommodate players, I think. Did you say something there? Your Wi-Fi's gone in and out again.
Yeah, no, I'm conscious of the Wi-Fi. It does seem to dip in and dip out there again lately. So it's
there's our man David Salter. This is just tuned in there, lads. Who's better off? Pazzunu playing first team football at a lower level, or Kelleher playing second fiddle at a higher level? There's one for you. I think we covered it already.
Yeah, well, you see, it's a funny one. I think Gavin Pazzunu definitely needs the time at Rochdale, and hopefully he's back from injury, and hopefully Rochdale are back playing after the COVID issues. Hopefully that'll be back soon. But so he definitely needs the time. A month ago, I would have said Queeveen Kelleher needed to go out on loan in January, but he got his played 3 full games, 2 of them in the Champions League, and did really well. I think he's established himself now as second choice for Jurgen Klopp. So I don't think he's going anywhere in January. So I think it's probably better for Queeveen Kelleher once he does get some game time. That I think I was saying it earlier on. I didn't see an answer in the comments who Liverpool have. I can't remember who they drew in the FA Cup, but hopefully Queeveen will be in goal for that, and maybe get 1 or 2 more games as well. I wouldn't wish an injury on Alisson Becker or anything like that, but maybe rest him for a game or 2 and give Queeveen a run.
Villa.
So, who's Villa? Is it?
Yeah.
Right. That's a tough one. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if he'll play Queeveen in that.
It's played on the 9th or the 10th of January. It says.
Okay. I thought maybe if they got a lower league, maybe Villa. But that's one of the ties of the round, I reckon, then.
Well, I think, obviously, Villa bet them 7-2 earlier on in the season. But I think with the FA Cup, did Liverpool not want to play in it last year? So it might be something where you might just decide to play him in it because for that reason.
Yeah,
Or was
and
it
I
the season
mean,
before? It's one of them anyway.
he will. Jurgen Klopp will be conscious as well, and keeping him fresh as well. So
Yeah, well, the thing about Alisson Becker is he does tend to get injured more often than not, like especially this season and a bit of last year. Like, and that's not his fault. Like, he just tends to get injured, but he's more injured than most keepers. Like, I kind of feel. So, if anything, that's a bit of a plus for Kelleher because it means he'll get more game time. You know.
yeah, I think what you said it earlier on, Paul. He is the type of goalkeeper that Jurgen Klopp wants. Someone who's comfortable with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, because
More
Adrian's
the I
not.
suppose know that quite a lot of clubs are playing that way.
Yeah, I think that would if he's playing that way, I think that would suit Ireland though.
Yeah, I think it's what Stephen Kenny wants to play as well, passing the ball out of the back, and he'll probably want a goalkeeper that's very comfortable with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, no, 100%, and that's why it's probably best if he does stay at Liverpool for this moment in time, maybe for the next year or two, see how he gets on, and if it's not working out for him, then leave. But we've seen when he stepped in that he was well up to the level if needed. Although I just think he's going to be competing with Alisson for the whole lot of his career if he stays at Liverpool. That's the only thing. In a longer term, he should probably aim to be the number one somewhere else and be the main man there for how long ever or forever how long he wants.
Yeah, that's probably a bit down the road yet, though.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. The next couple of years, just stay at Liverpool because he does get like I spoke with Paul from Redmen TV, and he was saying like that the way that Klopp does it is that he brings Adrian, Kelleher, and Allison all they all travel together and they all do the warm up together. They do the whole thing together. So he's involved in absolutely everything, and he has been up until now. So he's had that whole experience, the Champions League, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League. He's had all that experience, and he's been in and around the team and around the squad. He might not have been in the official, I suppose, named squad, but he's been involved with the warm ups and everything like that. So he's constantly been involved, and I think that's massively helped him. So when he has had to kind of been integrated in, and I'm sure he'd be playing with them in training and kind of learning their patterns of play that way. So I think it's really helped him when he had to come in. I think he just kind of stepped in seamlessly then, you know.
Oh, look, he did incredibly well when he came in. Doubt about that, and it's a fantastic learning opportunity for him to be there around have a coach such as Jurgen Klopp. So, I mean, I think it would be probably best for his development if he stays put at the moment, particularly when he gets the odd game as well. So, I think you're talking a couple of years down. He maybe should look then at moving on and being a number one.
Your Wi-Fi's gone like that.
Okay, yeah, it's,
So I'm getting
I
every
don't know
second
what's
word
happening.
again,
Okay.
but I can kind of make out what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I can try the speed test again, but I'm on the Ethernet and everything.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I have to say Kieran Clark's performed really well tonight from what I've seen so far.
We've done really well. In fact, he was on a yellow card so early. He hasn't made any rash challenges. He's had to be very careful.
But
Yeah,
Newcastle actually just look good defensively too.
yeah, they have been very solid. I mean, Liverpool have had more of the play, but I haven't. I know I've been distracted quite a bit from the game, but they haven't been really under the cosh or kind of hanging on.
Yeah, they have a free kick. They usually ramp it up now for the last 10 minutes of the games normally. Liverpool I'm talking about now.
Yeah, for an hour to
But
go.
you never know. 15 minutes on my clock. Just under 14 now. Just some Sean O'Donovan says it doesn't matter about them. Darren Randolph will never die, lads. Darren Randolph is an absolute gentleman, and if he's performing and playing well, kind of wish he didn't go to West Ham now. Maybe he'll move in January. Who knows? But he seems quite happy at West Ham in terms of his overall life. Maybe not playing, but he does seem happy, and he's very
I,
supportive of the players that play for West Ham as well. I'd say he's great around the dressing room.
I don't see him moving in January. I think he's gone there. He's a very capable backup, and he's gone there as a number two. And I can accept that at this. It is a choice a lot of goalkeepers make. He still has a lot to offer for us, so he probably, as of now, will be the starter in Belgrade. But I hope he does get some game time to stay sharp. And I know we've probably discussed it now back and forth a fair bit, but if Caoimhin Kelleher or whoever is playing regularly or getting some game time, then maybe there's a different option for Stephen in March.
Well, there could be an option going out on loan maybe somewhere else and come back at the end of the season. But then you're kind of saying, well, why did they get him in the first place?
I think he's gone there to be maybe to fight for his place, but I think he's gone there being reasonably content as being a number two. So I think that's probably what West Ham see him as having a good experienced keeper there as backup if needed.
Yeah,
so
I would like to see him. I would have liked to have seen him maybe go somewhere where a club that maybe challenging for promotion.
Oh, good effort. Alison Becker had to make a good save there. Kieran Clark got up. Free kick into the box, and Kieran Clark got up with a great header and right down into the corner, and Alison Becker had to go full length and save that. Good
Also,
header.
Kieran Clark was a player. He was a player that I'm pretty sure he was injured when Stephen Kenny's teams were playing, and he'd have been a good option.
Yeah, he was injured, I think, for a lot of the squads.
Back, yeah.
But yeah, and he could well be an option in March because he is playing regularly for Newcastle, and he's playing well as well.
I like him. I think he's quite solid. The free kick's coming up for me here now. David Salt has come in with another comment there. Clark is a good ball playing centre back. He used to play in midfield a bit for Villa, if memory serves me right. Excuse me. The position has changed a lot over the last couple of years in terms of playing out from the back.
Yeah, definitely. He did play in David's spot on. He did play in midfield for Villa as well, and moved back to centre half. Had been in his early days, but he has settled down a solid full back. Solid set, possibly play a full back as well. And yeah, he has to be. The only problem I would say with our strengths are definitely at the back and in goal. I mean, we are solid at the back. A lot of options there. It's probably in attack with attacking midfielders to create chances and strikers is probably where we're lacking. But it's good to see Kieran Clark playing regularly. He definitely will be within a shout and should be in the squad for March.
Yeah, I think he's very good to have. You know, in terms of his experience and stuff like that. He's obviously played in the Euros with us and was a key part of us kind of getting there. I know someone's just said in the comments there that he was an accident waiting to happen. Sean Ludwig, have to say, I think Clark is an accident waiting to happen. Watch the FAI YouTube highlights of our game versus Sweden at the Euros lately. He got one own goal in that game. He could have and should have had three.
I don't know. I think that's too harsh. I mean, he was very unfortunate with that own goal against Sweden, and I thought he's played really well for us and has and still has a lot to offer. And
what a clearance!
So I missed that.
It was about a minute ago. It's probably I think it was Kieran Clark.
Yeah, I still missed it anyway. Whenever it was been talking about something else. So
yeah, no, it was Schär, the Fabian Schär.
Okay, another fine defender actually. The Swiss guy, probably the bane of our lives at times, but he's a good player.
I don't know how he's hooked this off the line. The man is about to tap it in, and he hooks it. away for a throw in. Or it wasn't a throw in, he just kicked it away. But it was the right place, right time, because Mane was literally about to just tap it in. Just tap it in. You know, Happy Gilmore. That light's really annoying there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a bit too bright. Well, what do we know? The 83rd minute, and it's still scoreless. This would be a decent point for Newcastle if they can hang on.
You're right there, and Everton then will be watching this with a keen eye. Then Everton have to play West Ham, the next game, because obviously the City game is called off. But Man United as well will be on their tails as well, for Liverpool.
Okay, the ball's in the net there, but it's offside. Flag is up for Liverpool. Just going to watch it back.
Just David's all saying, is Troy Parrott's loan signing, or is the loan going to be cut short in January, do you reckon? That goal that Shard scored against Ireland was world class, even though I didn't like to see it go in. It was a really good goal, to be fair, from the edge of the box. Didzy's was better, though, mind you. But I would say, Troy, it could well be, cut short, but I don't know. I really don't know.
I've kind of read reports. I don't know either, David. I've seen reports that it was going to be cut short. And Millwall, I know they got a win there recently, but Millwall hadn't been playing that well. And I think I didn't see much of Troy, but I've been reading quite a bit of his performances there. And he was getting awful service, and they weren't creating any chances. And he was either coming on for the last half an hour, or he was being subbed off after about an hour. So it probably would be better for him to go and play somewhere else, somewhere he get more chance, more opportunity to shine. But he's a player that needs to be playing regular men's football to develop, and that's a big thing now. I mean, you can only play so much under 20, under 18, under 23 football in the Premier League, because it is a different level, because it's just, you're playing for Spurs under 23s against Chelsea under 23s or Man United under 23s. It's all very well, it's all very nice, but it's probably too nice, for want of a better word. And I think you need to be playing, whether it's in the Championship or even down in League One, just playing competitive men's football, where you are going to get you're going to get kicked around the place if you're not careful. You're just going to need to focus and play the game and toughen up, get used to playing in that environment, and it will be great for Troy Parrott to actually play regularly week in, week out, and I think that will make a huge difference for him.
Here's an idea. Troy Parrott gets his loan cut short. Mick McCarthy gives him a call, wants him to come to Applewell on loan. Go there with his big bro, Jack Byrne. There's an idea for you.
Yeah, I don't know who Applewell at all. I couldn't name anybody at Applewell apart from Jack Byrne, to be honest, and Mick obviously is manager. So I don't know who they have up front or what their issues. I suppose they haven't scored in the last couple of games anyway, and a couple of bad defeats. So yeah, maybe that's an option. Would he be a bit much out of sight, out of mind for Tottenham? I don't know whether Mick has any relationship with Jose Mourinho as well. That Tottenham may want him a bit closer to be able to keep an eye on him as well. But yeah, you never know, Paul. It's a good shout.
I just think to be reunited with Jack would be good for him. Do you know what I mean? Because they're together every week or whatever, could be good for them. Because they love not that they love each other, but they seem to love being around each other.
Yeah, and good mates, and yeah, and I think having Mick as his manager would certainly help him as well.
Yeah, well, it's just an idea. As we said, we don't know or can't confirm anything in terms of Troy getting his loan cut short. There's been talk of it, but nothing's been concrete. Jack apparently had his medical as well there yesterday, so I'd imagine that signing should be imminent in the next couple of days, all going well. and he'll be an Applewell player. I'd be interested then to see how he gets on, and I think people have a keen eye then on the Cypriot League and so on to see how he's doing and that type of stuff. Ushin's back there. After a run in the snow, he's back.
Yeah, I was actually I saw a couple of Cypriot League games. So was it about 3 or 4 years ago? About 3 years ago, I was over there in about March 2017, and I actually saw Apoel at home, and it's quite a big difference in the league because Apoel and Ammonia would be kind of the big teams. Oh, what a save there! Liverpool nearly scored, and it still has to be cleared out. Bit of a scramble there. Apoel and Ammonia, the big teams in Nicosia and in the country, and they get kind of, in some ways, it used to be a bit like Scotland, that they get all the big following and everything. And because I also saw a game in, I'm actually struggling to remember exactly who I saw. It was in Limassol, and it was, I can't even remember actually it was against. One of the second team from Limassol playing a team from Larnaca, and I can't actually remember. But it was only a few hundred people at the game, and it was pretty dead. Whereas if you go to the Apoel game, it's in the main national stadium where Ireland played a few times, and you get a bigger crowd, you get a bit of an atmosphere, etc. So yeah, it would certainly generate a lot more interest in the Cypriot League here. It'd be nice if we could actually watch the games. I'm sure we could find them on the internet somewhere, but I don't know if any of the channels show Cypriot football. And but yeah, certainly with Jack there, and if Troy or anybody else was to go there, who knows who Mick could start to pick up.
I've just seen that save there. It was a brilliant save. Newcastle played very well here. But yeah, look, it would be interesting to see how it plays out. I think people will be looking for streams all the time to watch how he's getting on and stuff. I for one will be trying to watch him and see how he's playing, and obviously there'll be highlights and stuff like that all over the internet if he is doing well and scoring goals or assisting. But he's played against like was it Apollon, Limassol. He played against them for Rovers.
Oh, for Rovers,
quite well them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he done well against them. Didn't he score against them? He scored that little dink. Was that against them? And he done the weasel celebration.
Remember now? That's
the one he scored in Tala, and the place went mental.
In Europe, was that against Limassol or was it against Brann? Okay, yeah, okay.
Might have been Brann.
I can't remember.
Look at that, David Salter. See his comment there for you.
Some thanks.
I didn't get any of that. All I heard was thanks.
Okay, so my Wi-Fi went again. Yeah, thanks, David. Someday I'd love to write a book, and yeah, I could probably tell a few stories. I'm certainly going to watch us a long time. But
IFF TV special you could do, and you could call it "I Go to Away Games."
I was only just reminded there. I'm coming up actually. I don't remember my first game, but I was reminded over Christmas. My first Limerick game was somewhere in March or April 1971, and I was 4 years of age. And so the fifth of me going to watch football and League of Ireland football is coming up next March. So yeah, it's probably more years than I care to remember.
Did you say the 50th anniversary?
Yeah, so I'm 54, and I first went to watch Limerick in the Markets Field in March or April 1971. I haven't been able to figure out what my first game was. I used to have the programs, and I used to have written over them in crayon some details and everything, but I actually got better copies of the programs without my crayon on them, and the other ones are long gone. So I first game was. But so in March next year, I'll be 50 years watching Limerick.
And you'll have two teams next year, yeah?
Well, hopefully at least one anyway, And I think that it looks pretty much certain that Treaty United will talk in Limerick, and I hope the FAI will give them a license. I think they will.
And are you gonna write this book?
Someday I'll have to do it. You know.
I think it would sell.
So
What would you call it? Memoirs of an Irish fan.
yeah, put me on the spot now. I don't know. I sure have to think of.
Man, your Wi-Fi is horrendous right now.
Okay.
It's just going. You're in every second word is coming through.
I probably actually one probably needs to be done is I need to reboot it. It hasn't been rebooted for about a week or 10 days, and that's probably the problem. I think that sometimes clears away a problem because I've actually done a speed test and it seems fine. And
I think maybe
it
before live videos, you should maybe reboot it an hour before or
rebooted
something.
an hour beforehand. Yeah,
Ah, there's only 3 minutes left here anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. 2 minutes really on my clock. It's probably over on yours.
yeah. There's 1 minute. It's 1 minute of added time left, and Liverpool are still on the attack, still pressing.
Newcastle on the attack for me. But anyway.
Okay. uh, well, there's 93-13, 14-15, and Liverpool are in the Newcastle half, and they have them pushed back. It would be really cruel in Newcastle if they were to score now.
I've just been really impressed with Kieran Clark.
Yeah, he's well. The whole team is defended very well, but Kieran Clark has played really well, and as I said, particularly having picked up the yellow card so early, it's very tough for a centre back to be playing for almost 80 minutes with on a yellow card.
There's
Now
the
they're
name for your book.
Okay. Lifelong pain, you know. Well, I've been very lucky now because I was at Euro 88, Italia 90, USA 94, Korea, Japan 2002, seen many great days with the national team. And as a Limerick fan, I saw Limerick win the league. I've no memory of the 71 FAI Cup win, but I saw Limerick win the league in 1980, win the FAI Cup in 82. So I have had many good days watching Limerick and Republic of Ireland. So um, it hasn't all been pain. Quite a bit of certainly the Limerick years and the first division from the mid 90s on to about there were a lot of grim years watching Limerick, and obviously it hasn't been good time. But there have been a lot of good days, and I know some younger fans haven't had a lot. So only a fair weather support. Then okay.
He's giving you a stick now, isn't he?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
it. I was also
Sorry,
I was also going before Euro 88, and I can remember a lot of the bad times when I started going in my first men's game was 75 against Switzerland. I actually saw the women play Wales in 74, but first men's senior game was Switzerland in 75, and I can remember a lot of bad days. In fact, I remember the days when saying we'll never ever qualify for a major finals. So and then of course we had the glory days under Jack Charlton.
Good times indeed.
Oh, yeah,
I only have
great
the
times.
2002 World Cup really, that I can remember, and I was only 10 or 11 at the time. But yeah, the match is over here. It's finished 0-0, and a good clean sheet for Kieran Clark. And Liverpool
Yeah.
have dropped 2 more points again, which is good, obviously, for the league. Not good if you're a Liverpool fan, I appreciate. So if there's any watching, they're probably annoyed. But yeah, Gary, I got to jump off, get something to eat. I'm sure I'll be talking to you either later on or tomorrow. Have a
Okay.
good night. And
Yeah, you too.
I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, and cheers, guys. Thanks for all the comments and for looking in. And cheers, Paul. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Yeah, and all the people who suggest that Gary writes a book would get him right.
Okay. Cheers.
Thanks for the comments, guys. I'm going to talk to you soon. Cheers, everybody.